Hello, everybody. Sue Roberts, once again, talking on the subject of being mentally healthy. So it's about, we walk around looking quite mentally healthy, but inside of us, we might feel suicidal, depressed. We might be in a domestic violence relationship. We might have childhood trauma. We could be schizophrenic, and people don't actually know about that because we're on medication. There could be all sorts of things happening. So on that note, I would love to introduce you to Ryan, who I met on the Rugby World trip in 2023. Unfortunately, the All Blacks lost, but there's something shady went on then, but lost to South Africa by 1 point. So good evening, Ryan.
Good evening, Sue. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. And the man in a suit as well, because I don't see that often. Anyway, Ryan would like to talk tonight about childhood trauma, what happens with that, and how it affects your children, maybe your grandchildren. So he's in the middle of, well, he's not in the middle of, but he's expecting a child soon, and he started to think about this topic. So Ryan, what have you got to say or tell us or feel about childhood trauma?
Well, all I would say is when you're about to become a parent for the first time, you reflect on, okay, what's my parenting style going to be like? How can I give this person the very best start at life I possibly can? And you reflect on your own upbringing and what was great about your own upbringing and what was not so great about your own upbringing. And I guess as we were talking about off air before, you just don't want to be passing your stuff on to your unborn child or your child once they're born. So yeah, that's kind of a simplistic way, I guess, to look at it. But I think it's being more aware of your behaviour and your responses to your children. In this case, my child is yet to be born, but reflecting on that and the kind of parent I want to be. And probably the biggest thing for me, I've had a very good life. I've had a blessed life, but I think what I want to do differently versus my own upbringing is promote an environment where my child backs themselves to make their own decisions, is not afraid to fail, and is not afraid to have a go.
So are they all the things that have affected you that you've just mentioned? Have they affected you? Like you were talking earlier about your upbringing. We'll miss that question. What in your upbringing made you think about handing on your trauma?
Well, I guess, as I said, I've had a blessed life. I had a very, very, very blessed middle-class upbringing. But I guess the main thing that affected me was I think my parents were scared to allow me to make mistakes.
Okay.
To allow me to fail. But also I found at times my parents' responses to me a little bit underwhelming. And so I never really knew, how have I done well? Have I done something well? Have I not so well? I found the feedback at times a little bit underwhelming. And so unfortunately I internalized that.
So can you give me an example, or the audience an example of that underwhelming?
Yeah, I guess I used to be a reasonably good pianist, a long, long time ago as a kid.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, of course, as part of that, you'd perform at recitals, or sometimes I was a member of a number of different orchestras, and sometimes mum and dad would come along, and I kind of knew how well I'd done, but I was sort of seeking their feedback from them, and often it was sort of, you did really well, honey, but you could have done better.
Okay.
That kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Or their response I found underwhelming. It wasn't, I thought I'd done really, really well, and their response was sort of, didn't match that. And so, okay, well, I've got to do better next time. How can I do better next time? Instead of, and there's lots of examples of that throughout my life, but I know now as an adult that it was, their responses to me were far more, were about them and their upbringing and how the environment that they grew up in, and also, more about their relationship, the dynamics of their relationship, and absolutely nothing to do with me.
Yeah. How long did that take for you to understand that?
I mean, I'm in my mid-40s now, and I reckon it's probably only been the last 5 to 10 years
Okay. That's interesting.
that I've come to understand that.
So how would you, just in thinking about your unborn baby, so when he...
We don't know this.
Have sex,
We
okay.
wonder if one of the
All right.
sonographers might let
Okay, might
the
be
cat out of the bag.
bisexual or something. Anyway, it's another story. So thinking about how you were brought up, how would you like to, just thinking about it, bring up your child?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think I want to just take it as it comes day by day and not try and preempt anything.
Yeah.
But I think I want to create a positive environment.
I'm sure you
Around-
would. I'm
ar-
sure you would.
Definitely around my child. I want to, on my way home from work, I want to be able to come in the door and be present.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't want to be on the phone. I
Yeah.
don't want to be, because as you know, I work in sales and I'm
Yeah.
on the phone all the time. I want to be present.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
And by coming back to, I want to promote an environment where they back themselves to make their own decisions, eventually.
Yeah.
To try new things.
So
To not worry about failure.
So to not worry about failure.
Yep.
But did your parents stop you from doing more things? Or when you say that,
We had a lot of opportunities, but they were, I guess the environment we grew up in, there was fear around failure. There was fear around, because see, failing, there's, invariably, there's nothing catastrophic about failing. It's very, very, very rare that the consequences are catastrophic.
Yeah.
But over time, over the months and years, the environment I grew up in, you'd worry about everything.
It's negative, but it's negative in a way, isn't it?
What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? Instead of going, well, so what? The consequences are rarely, if ever, catastrophic. Have a go.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, learn from it and move forward.
I personally think that sounds pretty good, though. I think just being present, not having your phone, letting them have independence, I think that's pretty awesome. Because I think the new generation coming through, I think that's been a bit fluffy. And it'd be interesting to see what happens in the world. But I think your attitude, I think that's a really broad-minded, understanding way of parenting, don't you think?
Well, I hope so. And look, I'm not all for, don't get me wrong, so I'm not all for just praising children for the sake of praising children, and having...
That's what happened.
And because you and I both know the world doesn't work that way.
No.
The world doesn't give a shit
Yeah.
how well you've done something, really, for the most part. So, I want to prepare them for the reality of the world that we live in. But so I guess from my perspective as well around praise, like I don't have an issue with praising children, but I think it's, what did you learn from that? How did you feel when you did that?
Yeah.
Those kinds of questions, being curious, being present.
Yeah, I think that's all you probably need to do. I think trauma's it's a really difficult area because I actually think it sometimes misses a generation. So you've got nothing to worry about until, you become a grandfather. But for a male to understand that, I think what you're thinking is it's pretty amazing, actually. I think you've got a very open, objective mind. I actually think you'll be a fantastic father.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, and you've thought about it. I mean, how many men think about that, really? I mean, do they? I mean, I'm sure somebody does, but who thinks about that?
No, I mean, as long as we're being fed, and watered.
Yeah, I know, but just
pretty happy.
That interpersonal, that interpersonal thing. And there's probably lots of fathers even now that are absent, like you were talking about, even though that happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
I think maybe males are still absent. I still think it's a predominant. Well, like, where did your mother fit into all of this?
Well, Mum was very. I mean, she went back to work for a short while. She was a teacher, but I mean, I guess because of my anxiety, I've always had a higher than normal level of anxiety throughout my life. A lot of my memories kind of been erased, unfortunately, the real detail. But I remember Mum being around. I remember Mum always being around to pick us up from school. Always been around on school holidays to take us. I used to be a half-decent tennis player. So I remember her taking me to tennis tournaments and waiting around. And, so we had a lot of opportunity, my sister and I. And so, but, my mum, I love my dear mother, but I'd struggle to have a conversation, the sort of conversation that I'm having with you now.
Yeah.
Because Mum just doesn't, it's not in her wheelhouse to have that sort of conversation.
Yeah. I probably think that happens to the majority of people, actually. I think you are very open-minded. I think you're a rarity And your mother, I think all mothers, I'm sure my mother was like that, and maybe I was like that. Okay, I must thank God for that. My daughter's at bed. So you've thought about this. You've thought about how your mother was. You've thought about how your father was, and you have decided on this path. I think what you're doing, I think, is amazing. Actually, I think it's rare. I think it's unusual. I think you'll be fantastic. So I don't think you should overthink this. Don't overthink this too much. Just be there, and you will be.
I want to be, because
You will be.
we know you can't get the time back. I know as cliched as it
Yeah.
is, you don't get that time back.
Yeah, you will be. And, intergenerational trauma is quite interesting because I think it probably happens to the majority of people, but probably don't even realise some of it's happened. And you as a parent don't even know. I mean, I don't know. I probably would have been traumatic or traumatised some of my children. Did I traumatise them? Probably. So I think we're all going to make mistakes. But because you're thinking about it, I think you're just going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's pleasing to hear that, so, because it's it's hard. You do get overwhelmed sometimes, and you think, how am I going to be as a parent? How am I going to cope? And for the most part, for the last couple of months, it's been real nervous excitement is how I describe the feeling. But also, because I'm a sort of a chronic overthinker, you do reflect on how am I going to go at this? How I really want to do a great job, and I just really want to immerse myself in it as much as I can, and still take care of my other responsibilities, but immerse myself in it as much as I can.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. The other thing, though, that was really important is your partner. So it's communication, good open communication with your partner about a whole lot of things. Like, is that an area that you think you've got a handle on?
Yeah, I'm confident. I mean, the conversations are ongoing, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think we've discussed our parenting style. Like, her parenting style is not going to match mine, and vice versa.
Which is probably good thing.
Absolutely.
Different style.
But they need to be aligned to some extent.
Yes. Yeah,
there can't be conflict at every juncture.
Yeah.
But but it's dynamic, isn't it? I mean, I think you evolve over time. But but communication's critical. I would agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely critical. And my partner's upbringing was quite different to mine. So, but she's very, very aware of where she's at, and also where we're at.
Yeah.
And the communication's strong.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think, anyway, I think you're quite inspirational, actually, Ryan. I think that there's probably maybe guys out there listening to this interview thinking, wow, where do I fit in here? Because I think, like males and females are probably brought up quite differently. And of course, males are probably still seen as superior, whether we like it or not. There's still a lot of sexism that goes on in the world. But and the other thing is, don't let other people influence you too much about your style of parenting, unless they've actually got fantastic, friendly, personable children. Don't let too many people give you advice. Only seek advice from nobody. Well, because I think you've got a handle on it.
Yeah, I'm pleased to hear that. I just want to pay attention, be present.
Oh, you will be. You will be.
And there's things I'm going to miss. I know I'm going to fuck up plenty of times, and
you're a human being. We all do that.
And just keep moving forward, obviously. But more than ever, I want my children to back themselves.
Yeah.
And that's probably the number one. They'd be able to sort of back themselves, have the confidence to go into the world and back themselves.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
Sounds fantastic. Hope I get to meet your child when he's like a little bit older. I'd love to follow his progress and see how he turns out.
We don't know the sex, but yeah.
He's about 6. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No.
I hope they love rugby as much as you or not.
I bloody hope so. Rugby, come on, guys. Rugby union. I think Kiss is going to be the new Australian coach. The coach of the Reds, apparently. Now, Schmidt's gone because he's going because he's got a son with epilepsy. And he's going back to New Zealand, so they don't want any more Kiwis. They only want Australians now.
Why don't you throw your hand there in?
Please. No, it's for joking. They're fantastic. Yeah, I could talk about rugby. I'm not going to talk about rugby anymore. On this note, I'm going to finish just by saying that, Ryan, you're going to be an awesome father. And love to follow your child's progress if you remain in WA.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'll definitely keep you updated. For sure.
Okay.
I promise you.
And thank you for coming and thank you for talking.
Thank you for the invitation.
And your suit, but he's got a suit on, yay! Okay, I think you're going to be brilliant.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. I'm a bit
No,
nervous excitement. Nervous excitement.
no, don't be.
Because I don't know how to swaddle. I don't know how to change a nappy.
Oh, who cares?
But Erin's changed because she's got really much younger nieces, so she looked after them and changed their nappies. So she's
easy. It's all bloody. It's easy.
Yeah,
It's just like a fake doll or something. But anyway, that part is not important. That's not important. It's the emotional part that's important.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be a blubbering mess when I see my child.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you probably will be.
Yeah.
But and you've got to be feminine, and don't be too. And you won't be. Don't be too wishy-washy or whatever. You know, you don't want to like. You know what wishy-washy means?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Don't be just be there. You're going to be there. Oh, you're going to be fine. In fact, I think maybe you should come back in a year and give some parenting talks.
All right. Yeah, I'd be delighted to. Yeah. How's Taft going? Have you been in touch with?
No.
Because he's gone. Yeah. Well, he's a parent, as you know now.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I saw that. But I'm really crap at things like that. Once I've done something, it's gone. It's the World Cup and it's gone, and you're my only contact. That's just me. I'm sure he'd be a great father.